Hey, hey, sounds like the cat's out of the bag. You have found Allegiant Web Wise, where for you web agencies, we discuss the business of being a web business.
Hello and welcome to episode 11, Legs 11. We are going to talk about SEO and some of the tools that we would want to use, or you can use, or maybe you don't even want to use because of whatever reasons we might discuss today. So, we've got our resident SEO experts in the room, Mr. Mike Devitt and Mr. Martin Robson, who has managed to slip off of the glacier by the looks of it and join us back in. And it's great to have you back, Martin. Okay, well, who wants to kick us off and tell us something about the tools that they like to use for SEO?
Oh, Martin's first.
Yeah, could I just very quickly say that all this stuff about me being on holiday is not true. Whilst I might not be, at home at the moment, I am still working, as you can clearly see, even though there's a glacier here. Carry on.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll edit that bit out later, Mike. Okay.
Yeah. You're on holiday. Let's not beat around the bush, Martin.
SEO. So I thought I'd go very quickly first because this is something that Mike can go into much more detail. But my SEO for my customers are ones who really know nothing about it, and to give them a chance to help themselves if they want to. So I use introductory stuff for people who don't really understand how SEO works, rather than getting into some of the more detailed tools that can move you from a starter into some really quite amazing results. And that's what Mike does.
Right. So tools themselves. At the moment, I think when you're starting off with SEO, you have a go with a number of different tools. And the great thing about everything that's happening at the moment in the world of SEO and in the world of software is that we've all went across to these subscription-based models. So years ago, you might buy a lifetime deal for something. And yes, we all love a lifetime deal, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that product is always going to be there. Subscription-based models are really great because they mean that you can dip in and dip out of using tools. So you can try a tool for a while, pay perhaps quite an expensive monthly fee for it, and actually see whether it works for you. So for example, the main SEO tools that a lot of SEOs use are SEMrush, SEMrush as some people call it, Ahrefs, and these types of tools are all monthly subscription based. You can pay for them in advance for like a year and they give you a discount for that. But if you only want to try them monthly, then I would recommend trying those tools. The thing about any of the tools that go off and do these discoveries, and they do different things like website audits. So they do like a technical page audit. They measure backlinks. They measure the search engine results pages to see whether people that are occupying, firms and companies that are occupying the chief 1 to 10 positions in the SERP, whether they stay there for a long time or whether the SERP is quite a movable SERP. So it gives you a chance of understanding whether you can perhaps rank a website for that. So it's about not just getting the tool, it's about understanding what you can do with these tools as well. One of the tools that I use that is the
before you move on to that one, I just want to check in with you. Is that would you say that SEMrush and Ahrefs are the top, the cream of the crop, or are they
I think they have been for a long time.
Right.
I would say that anybody that's in an agency scenario, they're using probably those two as tools, usually one, not the other, because they are expensive. But if you're in a situation where cost is an issue and you'd like the tool, I would recommend SE Ranking. SE Ranking is kind of like the quiet one of the three in terms of the fact that it gives you an awful lot of information and it isn't as established as the other two in terms of their growth, but certainly I think it's growing much more, and it's more in the community that people are using it because it is affordable. And one of the things that I think SE Ranking's done really well is its price bracket is based on, you know, how many keywords, how many websites that you want to audit and rank. And actually, they've got the kind of balance with that quite well. One of the frustrations I had with Ahrefs and SEMrush is that there was X amount of websites that you could have within their package. But actually, if you're running a business, you're going to have to run one of their more expensive packages in order to make that pay. Whereas with SE Ranking, this is sort of an unlimited, almost an unlimited website option. And then you just decide on how many keywords that you want to track and certain other tools. So I think they've got their pricing, they're very clever pricing. You can dip in and dip out and pick different aspects, different functions within SE Ranking that you might want to use and add to your plan. So I've had SE Ranking for the last 2 years. Yeah, and I've not even thought, when it came to its like renewal, I went, well, it's no brainer. It's a very, very good tool. Sometimes with a lot of these tools, they have so much in them that actually you don't always realize what they've got and what you can do with them, and don't always have the time to look into it. But I also like tools that have a link to browsers like Chrome extensions. And there's some very good Chrome extensions out there, and one of them is called Detailed. So I would recommend anybody just to download Detailed, and Detailed just from the perspective of visiting a website and having a look at its heading structure, how many links that it's got going from that website, whether the page has got alt text on the images, and some other bits and pieces that's within Detailed that's really, really good. So I would very much recommend downloading that one and using that one. And then there's another little one.
Is that free, Mike? Is that
free? That is free.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a free one.
We
So
like
sorry,
free,
you
don't
should
we?
say whether they're free or paid. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And I quite like, there's another one I'm going to need to have a look at the name of it in a second because it's not showing.
That's fine. While you're saying that, Martin made a really good point about the level of the person trying to do SEO, and we know that some of our clients have started off trying to do stuff on their own. And Martin, you know, what's your thoughts on these kind of tools for people that really don't know the in-depth?
Yeah, no, it's a real good point, Gill, because most of the tools are geared towards professionals like Mike, both in terms of the amount that they charge, you know, because if you're only doing one site, that's your own site, then, you know, it's difficult to make that cost benefit analysis. Whereas if you're providing a service to a range of people, then, you know, that becomes a much easier thing to do. I think for end clients for their own sites, then you're looking at more understanding what is it that actually makes my site rank before you start really focusing in on the tools. I mean, the mistake, if you like, that I see people making is they go out and buy a tool, but they don't really know what they're doing with it. And it's the same as, you know, any other walk of life. You know, it doesn't matter how good the tool is. If you don't really understand how to use it, then you're not going to get very much benefit out of it, or even worse, you'll use it, you know, to mess stuff up. So for my clients, I focus on the education of what is it that you need to understand, you know, and the kind of 3 big things of put your content to be relevant to what people are actually looking for. So that's pretty fundamental. Make sure the structure of the site, so simple things like, you know, 1H1 on a page and not loads of them, and many more things are right. And understand that backlinks, i.e. being linked to by some other form of authority, preferably, will have a much bigger effect on your SEO than any tinkering in tools will do. Once you've got that basic background, it's a bit like a pyramid. You know, if you haven't got your foundation correct, then using advanced tools isn't going to be very good for you. If you've got the foundation correct, that's when these tools, really start taking you up the pyramid, if you like. But yeah, I would always argue that at that point, once you've got the foundation correct, if you want to move up, then engage a professional.
There's just understanding at the beginning, isn't it? What you're going to need, what information you're going to need to have. And as SEOs, we always focus on Google Search Console. Search Console gives you a massive amount of information, and it's a free tool. So coming back to the old concept of what is free and the information that you can gather about a website before you embark on doing anything with it, before you're even discussing with a client what they're trying to rank for, what their business is all about. Search Console gives you that piece of information. And then when you want to look at measuring, you then add Google Analytics to the site as well. So these are like just the basics of what should be installed on every single website, in my opinion, because if a business then wants to, if they're not in the SEO, they've never thought about using SEO services, and then they employ an SEO, if they've got these tools already on their website and they've got access to them, then that's great for the SEO, because then they can come along and they can say, well, look, this is where you are now. This is your baseline. And this is what we can potentially do with a bit of work. And that's when you would then perhaps use your extensions. So one of the extensions I was just mentioning was detailed SEO extension. There is another one which I use to look at links on a page, and it's called Web Developer. So that's another Chrome extension. Then if I'm looking to see what the keyword volume is for a particular key phrase, I use something at the moment called Keyword Surfer. That's another Chrome extension. And what it does is it just adds to your Google browser. And when you type in any particular search into the browser, it will tell you what that keyword volume is. And that's, I mean, obviously that's based on its own piece of data. You will, if you use Google Ads, you can see what the keyword volume is from Google. If you use SE ranking, you might get something slightly different. So it's just about,
yeah, and that's a really good point, isn't it? All these tools use their own way of interpreting because they are not the search engines, and we have to keep that in mind. So what is spat out from Ahrefs might look slightly different from what's spat out from SEO ranking. So you have to measure like for like, if you like. So once you're in your tool, understand that you're measuring against yourself and against their particular way of looking at the data.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, actually, Jill, because you get that, with people going, okay, well, I've used just even the same tool, Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4, they give you a different answer for the same question because Google has changed the way in which it measures. And that's the same tool in the same company. Like you say, if you've got tools from different companies, there are different ways of measuring certain things. Some things are very clear cut, but other things, there's interpretation involved. Attribution is a classic one. Where did this lead first come from? Did it come from, somebody going into the search engine, or did they see it in Facebook first? Or did they hear it from their mate down the pub before they went to Facebook, before they went on to, and all the tools are trying to automate that process and go, aha, well, this is where that lead came from. And obviously there's interpretation involved. So yeah, it's a really good point about just, don't get too hung up about the fact one thing says one thing and one thing says another. Focus on one thing and go with that.
Keeping costs down and just talking about some downloadable software tools as opposed to extensions, we can move into, there's a company called link-assistant.com, and they've been around for quite a while, and they provide some very, very affordable tools. And very often they appear on various reseller places like AppSumo. And so the very first one that appeared on AppSumo, which I bought quite a few years ago now, was Website Auditor. And Website Auditor is an exceedingly powerful tool that if you can get the lifetime version of it with the algorithm updates, you are in a very, very good place. If you're starting out with SEO and you find a deal for that, that is fantastic. The other one I bought recently, which was on there, is SEO Spyglass, which is a backlink profile analysis, where you can actually look at the backlinks that some of your competitors have got. Now, this also exists within SE ranking. You can look at the backlinks, but again, just like we were just saying just a minute ago, and what Gill was just saying, different tools have different interpretations of the backlinks. And so sometimes you'll get a different version of backlinks, or maybe just a few more in one tool than you will another. But if you can get that with the algorithm updates as well, that's also really, really good. That's link-assistant.com.
Brilliant. We are running out of time. Can you believe it? Let's just have a wee roundup with any last thoughts that you guys might have. What would be your takeaway, or either give us a good takeaway, or if you have the absolute must-have tool, then tell us about it right now.
You go first, Martin, or me?
Yeah, sure. No, I don't have an absolute must-have tool. And I'm also very conscious of the fact, where you mentioned algorithms that, or Mike did, that Google itself changes the way that it ranks. And so you have to be aware of, a tool you used 4 years ago may not be the most appropriate tool now. And it tends to be more expensive ones are the ones that keep themselves updated. And broadly speaking, I mean, it's a catch-all, so it doesn't apply to everything, but some of the lifetime ones don't keep themselves updated because, they've got their money. So be aware of that. My main takeaway would be if you want to invest in tools yourself, have an understanding of how ranking actually works before you get focused on, well, what tool am I going to use in order to improve my ranking? Which sounds kind of obvious, but I see again and again and again, people don't understand how SEO works, and then they go and buy something that they're wasting their money. So that would be my key takeaway.
Yeah, I think if you're starting out, maybe what I would recommend is download the free version of Screaming Frog. I think we all know about Screaming Frog. And if you then get to a point with it where you need to have the full license for it because of the URL limit that they put on Screaming Frog, you'll then get the full benefit of it. And I think it's just a little bit of maturity with that. I would argue actually that for the £200 for the license, for 12 months is a very, very good use of SEO money. But if you are in the early stages of getting some SEO clients, and you're looking at your bottom line and you're looking at your profit, I would say if you're going to speculate to accumulate on anything, go out and buy Screaming Frog and get the full license for it.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. And so there you go, guys. We have got a whole bunch of great suggestions with your number one place to start. But actually, we want to make sure that you know what you're going to do with them before you start buying them. So they're not going to do the SEO for you. You have to learn how to do it and know what you're doing. So these are just tools that can inform and help your decisions as you apply SEO to your clients' sites. So hopefully you have found some value in some of these tools and heard of some that you maybe haven't heard of before, or found a place to get started. So let us know in the comments, like and share as usual, how we've got on. And please, last week we talked about we were going to do a case study, and we've had some feedback on that, but we just haven't had enough to actually make us want to record the case study yet. So come on, give us some more feedback on getting that case study about how to outsource. All right. Until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hey guys, before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss another episode. Please leave us a like or a review. It truly makes a difference when you leave reviews. And head over to AllegiantWeb.com/podcast, where you'll find a full transcript of the show, some key points, and quite a few other goodies for you. Let's build this thing together and really make a difference. All right, catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.